still here, John. I'm just...
Hey, hey. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show.
And Grumpy is apparently still here.
I don't know. That's great. Welcome, everybody. You're on OzByDrone, and I'm John.
And I'm Greg, and yeah, we're having a lot of fun today. I'm experimenting with all sorts of new things audio-wise in the background. Let me know in the chat if anything is not sounding too good today, and we'll go and work that out. John?
Just kidding, just kidding. My little joke. Sorry.
Anyway, let's move on. So what's happening in your world today this week, John? What have you been up to?
Well, what hasn't been happening, because if you're in New South Wales, you know, we are in
I didn't do that.
Time. Yeah, it is news. It is news time. But our news, of course, is we're in lockdown here again, and it looks like it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks. Pretty heavy stuff. So you can't go out and fly. That's not a reason, apparently, to go outside. So you've got to stay in your house. So, you know, we're all under lock and key here.
Well, that's the good thing about you. You can go and fly anytime you leave. You don't need to leave your house to fly.
I don't need to leave the house, and that's a good thing. Yeah, absolutely. What's been happening with you, mate?
Well, like you, lockdown kind of stuff, but I've been using the time to play with some techie, geeky computer things and waiting to go and get stuff so that I can go and play around with that Wi-Fi kit that we looked at last week. So that was pretty cool. But
yeah.
Stay tuned for that. I've got to go shopping first, but it's not essential.
Not essential, but it's winter here at the moment too, so good time to stay inside and get building, I say.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into that very, very soon. But anyway, let's hit the news, and we'll start it by saying, as always, OzByDrone News is brought to you by AirData UAV. Is your drone healthy, or is it about to surprise you on your next flight? Don't wait to find out. You can find out information under the hood. You can find out if there's oil in there and review the early signs of problems before you take off again. Use the discount code OzByDrone20 for a 20% discount. There is a link in the description. And that was a deliberate lead for you to tell the story, John.
Tell the story.
Yeah,
which one was I going to tell?
Find out if there's oil in the drone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes, of course. Yesterday, Tom rang me, hoping to have him as a guest today. All the engine lights came on the car. He said, "What do you do?" You know, and I said, "Well, the first thing you do, if you smell anything or you have any rattles or anything, you pull over the side of the road and you pull that oil dipstick. You know, that's the first thing I want to know. If there's no oil in the car, there's a whole lot of smells and noises and everything that are going to happen. So yeah, that's the story. And it wasn't the oil. We just reset the computer. Took the modern cars these days, take the negative terminal off the battery, put it back on. Doesn't work with all cars, of course, but some cars will allow you to reset the computer and you're good to go. So there you go. There's today's tip.
Okay. Sorry, I was getting distracted by my lovely assistant over here who's telling me my computer's too loud, but the computer sound is not going out to everyone else. It's only in our ear, so don't worry about it. It's all good. Let's go with our first story now, and it is this one. So, London Fire Brigade has endorsed a Mavic 2 drone cage, saying it is ideal for internal drone inspections and makes previously impossible operations possible.
New cage.
Have you seen this cage before, John?
That's pretty cool. Yes, I have. I saw it the other day. And if you look at it, nicely sits on the Mavic 2, as you can see there. And protected. This is like an enterprise Mavic with the first flight option on it. With the aeroplanes, you know, the engine sound's getting out of there. It's working pretty hard, of course. Every time it taps something, all the sensors are going a bit crazy, but no GPS. So you're going to bounce around inside, but yeah, it worked. Look at it. I mean, that's the proof. Pretty tight space.
Well, we've got a second clip. Let's cut over to the second clip now. What happened there? Oh, somehow we got out of it, but doesn't matter.
There we go.
That was it. I thought it was longer than that, but that was my mistake. But there you go. So,
yeah, one of the things that'll be interesting. Sorry, Grumps.
No, I was just going to say that I heard they gave that drone a name. His name is
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
They call it.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Nicholas.
Nicholas Cage.
Yeah, Nicholas the Cage drone.
It's starting off thin today.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things, Greg, they're going to do is the regulators are looking at how the 30-metre rule might be relaxed for certain aircraft. And one of the initial requirements is that you're shielded, people are shielded from all rotating parts of the aircraft. So that's kind of an interesting thing too. They're going to look at it for micro drones to start with, of course, under 250 grams. But if you're able to shield with some sort of a fence around the propellers, that's going to, hopefully in the near future, relax the 30-metre rule. Be interesting to see what happens there.
Speaking of which, though, I think it'd be really cool if they looked at relaxing the regulations also so that voice is not getting out over the video. I'll come back to that a little bit later, Trevor. I would love to find out if, for example, you've got a 249-gram drone and your prop guards are, a certain amount, that's not going to cause you to go into another category. That would be, I think, a nice enhancement to the regulations as well.
Well, it's one of the things I think DJI are probably facing with the regulator at the moment, because here's the thing, though. If you go to CASA and say, look, the drone weighs 249 grams, if I put prop guards on it and take it up to 286, I think the Mini will go to, I'm in another category. I'm outside the micro category of drone. And so but it's safer. And so you say, well, for those few, little extra grams, I'm a lot safer. But CASA and the regulators don't have a way of doing that because the weight categories are legislated. So there's nothing they can't work outside of that legislation unless they work inside the manual of standards, which takes a while too. So it's regulatory stuff. But we've changed regulations before; they constantly change. So we'll just see what happens there.
Yeah, maybe if there's a percentage where if your prop guards are below a certain percentage of the original takeoff weight of the aircraft without them, that they can automatically stay in the category they were in. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
It's got to be possible because just in a real quick one, we had a case where we didn't need any paperwork, any approvals or anything to operate at 249 grams. But as soon as we put the prop guards on to make the operation safer, we had to have JSA risk assessment, CASA approval, and because it was in another category. For so that's what the point we're making here, of course. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, and there was a comment from Northern Tier FPV. It's already disappeared off my screen. Can you put the other one back up? The Mavic Mini 2 knows when you add prop guards. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It does know. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, let's move on to our second story of the day. And this one is just yet another light show, but it was by Samsung. So we should definitely have a look at that one. Samsung is launching their Galaxy Pro. So to launch the new PCs, the Samsung used Intel's Drone Light Show in the US. I guess they hope their new products are going to take off.
Boom, boom.
So I don't have any audio with this one, and the music they used was not available for rebroadcast. But
that's phenomenal, isn't it? I mean, these guys are getting better at this, aren't they? And there was
certainly this is the Intel stuff. We saw the failure the other day. I wonder,
I watched that a couple of times.
Yeah. Did you ever come to a conclusion? Because there were some people who were saying that it was battery related. I didn't see battery in that.
Listen, I can think of 25 reasons why drones might fall out of the sky doing this work. It's really complicated, obviously. I mean, look at the close proximity of the aircraft, the way, they're actually even positioning themselves. It's a whole another level. It really is. It's amazing. So they had a fail. I thought the way the aircraft were dropping like flies, it looked like, was that there was a systemic failure, because if it was a battery issue, one aircraft maybe, A couple of aircraft might fail, but you wouldn't suspect multiple failures unless it was the control system. Just my guess.
That was my feeling as well. Yeah.
But I mean, you have a situation whereas if the control link fails or the whole thing falls over, everything would just fall to the ground, perhaps. And what the fail-safe should be is the things just lower themselves to the ground slowly.
I'm just glad that they don't use a variation of Windows on the aircraft. Otherwise, they'd be crashing all over the place.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that was bad. Okay, let's move on. Our next one over here. A Swiss research group has developed drone-carried sensors that can detect water content of the terrain below, and they're offering it as a cheaper and more accurate measurement to supplement existing technology, such as satellite imagery. Its creators say the device can optimize a variety of terrain management decisions in a world where drought and fires are becoming major recurring problem. They're actually calling this a digital divining rod.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Derek Houtz, CEO and co-founder of Terrarad Tech, a Swiss-based precision agriculture company. As a postdoctoral researcher, I developed a technology that will revolutionize precision agriculture. Climate change and increasing population, coupled with the decreasing availability of natural resources, is posing a threat to the global food supply. Our sensor, based on measurement of naturally emitted microwaves from the Earth, can directly measure soil moisture near the root zone of crops and optimally time harvest. In addition to saving on irrigation costs, our sensor can spatially optimize irrigation and increases agricultural productivity. We have performed proof of concept testing with partner institute Swiss Future Farm, and we will continue these tests with paid pilot customers and other research collaborations. Bringing a technology designed for satellites into the agriculture sector is a high-risk endeavor. This radically new technology may face resistance from the more traditional agriculture and farming industry. Compared to alternatives, such as satellite-based crop indices and infrared cameras, our sensor provides an unprecedented view into the Earth.
So, a divining rod for drones to carry on board, as was the headline in the original article. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, again, we've talked about this before, sensor technology. I looked this week at ground penetrating radar, but was only working from an S600, I think, or an X900 was carrying it, a large ground penetrating radar, and it was 7 meters. So you had to fly pretty low, 21 feet above the ground, but it worked. It would show pipelines under the ground and stuff. So breakthroughs everywhere. The divining rod, anything that technology. A lot of people that have established it are saying, how can we carry that with a drone? We've got to make it lighter. We've got to make it lighter. And so that's the ongoing challenge for any kind of modern sensor thing, is that you might have something that fits in a truck, but if you can't fly it, then you've got to work out another way for it. So that's why we've seen, camera sensors, infrared, thermal imaging, everything getting miniaturized so that we can carry them on these aircraft. So great stuff. I mean, you'll watch that just advance, day by day, week by week. They'll continue to have those sort of breakthroughs. Great for agriculture, of course.
I tell you what, when I saw the headline of it, I was waiting to see two pieces of metal out the front of the drone or something like that. It's a interesting headline, but reality, I love the idea of using microwave detection from naturally emitted microwave as a way of detecting the water. That's really cool.
Yep, science will tell us all.
Science will. Let's move on to our next one, and this one is a homegrown story. The Greater Sydney area, as we are all aware, has entered a hard 2-week lockdown on June 26, as authorities tried to contain a fast-spreading outbreak of the highly infectious Delta coronavirus variant in Australia's largest city. This drone footage shows Sydney's lockdown beaches. I don't know who it is that took this, because the video disappeared after it was initially published, but it was showing there are a few people out and about. And, from that perspective, people are getting exercise if they're in the water. I don't have a problem with that personally. But the beaches are fairly empty, which is probably also indicative of the fact that it's bloody cold at the moment. But
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's freezing.
Some beautiful footage, regardless of Sydney and surrounding areas.
Yeah, I miss some of our stuff that we used to get sent in. We used to have some great FPV clips on the show. I reckon we should take a bit of a poll and see if we can see what our listeners think.
You know what? Speaking of which, though,
sitting here and watching footage.
Speaking of which, our the guy that produced that for us, Greg Hilton, he had some stuff happening in his world that prevented him from continuing that. But I have been chatting to him, and the plan is to have that back on perhaps a monthly basis or something. But it was a lot of work for him to go and produce and edit that every week, but maybe monthly. So it's on the horizon.
Good stuff.
Speaking of the horizon, we've got our next story theoretically before our guest comes in. So what I might do is get you to try and give him a call and see what happens while I go and do the next story.
I'm onto it.
And this one's Sorizon, and that sounds very much like Verizon, but it's Sorizon, and it's by Thales, which is a French company. It's a digital platform that combines professional expertise in the UAS field with Thales' strong aeronautics and aerospace knowledge. This UAV operation management software enables a drone pilot to plan, track, and analyze missions and collaborate with other team members in a single secure platform. Let's have a look.
Sorizon is the simplest way for professional drone pilots to plan, track, and analyze missions, collaborating with other team members in a single secure platform. For professional drone operators, UAS operational planning can be manual and time-intensive. From client requests through to mission planning, the whole process can often take hours, requiring multiple applications, scattered paperwork, and endless spreadsheets. Sorizon was created to combine these tools and processes, so you can complete each step of your mission using one simple solution. Whether you're an individual drone pilot or a larger organization, Sorizon was built with you in mind to help you run your drone operations in a professional, compliant, and streamlined way. Within your organization, you can manage your projects and missions. If you're a Sorizon Elevate or Enterprise customer, you can invite and assign your team members into Sorizon. Here, your members can manage their activities into projects.
Fairly long video. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but I'll just turn the audio down. And look, one of the things that I kind of thought about with this kind of platform, it's good for mission planning. It's good for risk analysis. What I would love is for one of these platforms to go to the next level and to do the image capture and getting the images. If, for example, you've done some photogrammetry, to get those images also uploaded into the same single cloud platform, and then go a step further and say, on a subscription basis, third-party companies who might do your stitching and all of those kind of things, to say, hey, I just want to stitch this mission. Can you go and give me this type of output file? And to treat that as a service on top of a drone cloud platform. That, I think, is where things need to go.
Yeah, I think that kind of consolidation of the software is definitely coming. We're looking at the way LANC and some of the other approval processes are starting to cooperate with compliance programs. I use AVCRM, as you know, Greg, and they're fantastic. And they're actually watching them develop the software over the last few years. They're getting API with DJI, so we can obviously use the telemetry data comes in for all your flight time logs and so forth. So people will be familiar, of course, in the way AirData works. And AVCRM are actually partnering with our sponsors, AirData, for all of that under the hood information that that you get from them. So I'm seeing that sort of collaboration first, but I think cloud development at a natural progression. So you've just got one, if you like, central area where all of your compliance is done, your risk management, your paperwork that you might need for a job, a LANC system, an approval, and then, of course, the outputs as well. And that's what we're talking about, is going right through to the outputs. And a customer portal. One of the things that's nice, too, if you're working with someone, you're taking some photos, it's nice for them to go to look through your website, your own business website, or where your photos are, with your own branding on it, and have those things being output as well. So I'd love to see a further development of that, so that your your one-stop cloud is able to manage your back-end, database with the client and so forth as well. So it'll come. It's going to happen. There's no doubt about that. Hats off to AirData, who do an amazing job with what they do and the cost of it. And also in Australia here, AVCRM, really good platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. All of this will come in time. I think it's just the business case for people to work out what they're going to do.
Well, the market's there. There's no doubt there's a market for it. So that's why it'll happen.
Yeah. Just a brief interlude. So the plan was to have Tom, who has a surname that some might be familiar with, Tom Morrison, to come on as a guest today. Let me go back and I'll share the story of getting a guest today. We originally were going to have, who was it? A guy out of Ireland was going to be our guest today, but that fell through. It was also going to be a global fly-in today, but Kelly had a guest already planned for his show, so that fell through. Then I said Coldflake, who had to cancel last week. Last week, just out of interest, Coldflake's child was sick and needed to get medical attention. So our thoughts are with you, but he'll be back again next week. But we tried to get Coldflake this week, but he already had a holiday planned with his family, so that fell through. Then I had someone else I was talking to, and now, Mr. Morrison, can you please explain?
Well, I thought I'd go and rustle up Tom, who is our chief pilot. He's my eldest son, and going really well. Business. He's a good operator at 24 years of age, and started flying with me about 5 years ago, and now sort of pretty much heads all of the safety stuff up for our company. He's better at than I am. He's better at playing the good cop, bad cop, where he's a bad cop. So, I was hoping. I've been trying to reach out to him this morning. He does have some challenges where he is getting onto the internet, and he also has challenges sometimes just getting out of bed. So, that's what it's like being 24, isn't it? So, I don't know why there's silence, but we've got silence. I've tried a couple of times, but I let me see if I can share. Here's a photo that I sent him the other day, and hang on, that might work. There we go. That's him sleeping in the car on a job. I've got plenty of shots of him sleeping, if you like, and I've even got some shots of him doing actual work. So here he is. Now he's putting in a control point. This is a control point for the very first survey job we ever did. So he's on the show anyway. There he is, hammering down a control point. And one last one, just so that he makes an appearance. Here we are in Tullabajil, which is out in central New South Wales. It's about 2 degrees, and we're all rugged up and out in the morning fog putting out control points. So there you go. That's and Tom's got a fixed wing rating. He's got a powered lift endorsement for VTOL, and he has a multi-rotor endorsement, of course. And he does basically all of the check and training. So even me these days.
Zeb Meter's saying 24 years old, he must be tired.
Yeah, that's right. 24 years. That's right. Yeah. When I was 24, like, what are we? We're 11 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Yeah, that's fair enough if you're still asleep.
Yeah. Okay, so let's.
If you were 24, you'd still have hair.
That's probably right. Yeah. And when you lose your hair when you get a 24-year-old. That's what happens.
So while we're kind of in this mode over here, let's tell a story. We're going to pause and tell the story, if you can. What actually happened? How did Tom first work out that he was going to do this in the first place?
This was the car story with the oil, right?
No. Droning, period.
Oh.
How did he get into it?
In the very beginning.
Yeah.
Well, I said you got to do something. You've actually got to think about this. He was going to university and studying astrophysics. Doing orbital mechanics, interplanetary motion, all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, this will fit you perfectly. And the other thing was he wanted some money.
Okay.
That's the motivator, isn't it?
Money is the motivator. Oh, speaking of motivation, John seems to be motivated.
Yep, and there we go. Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
I've lost
Okay.
everybody.
Yeah,
you there?
We've lost John. Oh, I'm here. Are you there?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I am. But it says John's got connection problems.
Yeah, okay. Welcome
It's that
to
new
the world
iPhone 12. Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay. Look, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go on to our next story, which is this one. Speaking of phones, would you be getting one of these stories? A patent was filed by Chinese phone manufacturer Vivo at the World Intellectual Property Office, showcasing a phone with its own built-in drone camera. The Vivo phone will have its own mini drone that will pop out on command and click photos at you from any vantage point. Would you be getting one of these, Grumps?
Yeah, I'm going to run
Let's
out.
just
and buy one
replay
tomorrow.
that video.
Yeah.
Here we go. Pop it out. Up it goes. It's a cool idea, but...
Yeah, but it's just another shtick. You know, just...
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you'll have all sorts of kids flying those things in school, getting suspended, getting in trouble instead of doing their schoolwork like they're supposed to.
Okay. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm just going to pause for 2 seconds. I'll get my producer to click the disconnect all in rendezvous. And Lloyd, you may need to come back. We'll see what happens. Reconnect. There we go. And we've got John back almost. Click the little head. There we go. So we've got a black screen for John. Have you got John back at your end?
Nope,
Lloyd?
just got a froze picture. It still says connection problems.
Okay. Okay, let's go on. Our next story is this one. A Syracuse startup has developed a system that detects small low-flying drones that radars can't see without the ability to detect drones. Of course, air traffic controllers have no way of managing the skies to prevent potential collisions between drones and manned aircraft. And security personnel, they need a way to detect drones flying over events like public crowds and things like that. Hidden Level uses sophisticated sensors that can detect drones flying over wide areas. According to the company's website, just 10 of its sensors can detect drones over a 170 square mile radius, enough to cover the entire city of Atlanta, including the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. Sorry about that. My producer was just having a look at why the photo for that one was black, but accidentally re-looked at it. But here's the story anyway. love technology. We've got John back, but there's an interesting perspective we've got of John. On my screen, he was upside down, so I just had to spend some time over there rotating him. So he's right way up now. But it's the wonders of Wirecast.
He was probably going through an American server. That's what flipped
Wonders
him
of
upside down.
Wirecast. Let's get the audio happening. So my producer's just getting his audio in at the moment, so bear with us for a few moments more. We love you, Wirecast. Oh, yes, we do. Okay, have we got audio for John working?
I'm off.
Can you hear John? Can you hear me?
Hello, John.
It looks like I'm frozen. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We hear you.
We can see you. It's working. As long as you can hear us, it's all good.
You can see me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah, it's very delayed and scratchy.
Okay, it's working. Let's just keep going for the moment.
Going back to my other device?
No, this is working fine.
Okay, so my other device is now logging in.
Have we got... Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going for another... see if you can log in.
Okay, so swap that in. Okay, we've got John back on another device, but we've got to rotate his head again. So I'll get my producer to do that.
How's that better?
Yeah, just turn off the other device for the audio. Otherwise, we got the echo. The wonders of technology. Okay, audio. We need to do that in a moment as well. Oh, he's frozen again.
He's frozen again. I don't know what.
Okay, tell you what, let's go and have a look at the next story.
Okay.
This one is fire forecasting. In a grassy meadow outside Missoula, Montana, drones fly high in the sky on an important mission. They're part of a program to help detect and fight forest wildfires. Fowler's drones carry instruments to measure temperature, humidity, wind speed and direction. The data can be fed back in real time. And my producer is still going and trying to rotate John's face back. Type in 180 in that number or 0, baby. There we go, just 0. Oh, gotta love Wirecast. Let's watch the video.
In a grassy meadow outside Missoula, Montana, drones fly high in the sky on an important mission. They're part of a program to help fight and forecast wildfires. Jennifer Fowler of the University of Montana is hoping to help firefighters respond to disaster.
They would really like to have better forecasts, just to really know, when can we attack these lines a little bit more efficiently, and where can we move resources? They just don't know all the time what's going to happen.
I'm back.
Fowler's drones carry instruments to measure temperature, humidity, wind speed, and direction. The data can be fed back in real time. To make it all work, battery power and recharging technology are key. So other researchers are working with startup Wybotic. It has autonomous charging pads and a system that can monitor the battery health remotely. There we go. Wybotic CEO and co-founder Ben Waters said his technology could potentially help drones fly in more remote places.
And one of the reasons why you can't fly drones is because you can't readily have access there. So we are really excited about enabling the future where drones can be stationed in remote areas.
While some fire departments have tested drones with sensors to detect toxic gases or infrared cameras to measure the fire's temperature.
So I think we've seen a lot of this kind of stuff before. The thing that's different is their perspective of trying to get longer range, perhaps using 4G and 5G technology to go and control that further away. They're definitely looking at beyond visual line of sight to assist in firefighting.
That's one of the other challenges, of course, beyond visual line of sight. So unless you've got all of that stuff working, and it's a dangerous environment to have that with this other aircraft around, that's a problem. One of the things, I went to a couple of meetings with the National Aerial Firefighting Centre here in Australia. All of the aircraft here that fly on firefighting missions, whether they're doing scouting, reconnaissance, dumping, spot dumping with helicopters. They've all got a transponder, a small radio device for the fire department that works through a satellite system. And you can plot the resources so the National Firefighting Centre can see where the assets are, what they're doing, whether they're refueling and so forth. So moving forward, they wanted, all drones that were going to be in fire areas to have these transponders. They were a bit heavy to start with. You needed to connect it up to an aircraft battery system. It just wasn't suitable. So now we're looking at a miniaturization of those transponders, and that will change a lot of things. So obviously, when you've got assets in the air working with fires, they need to be either talking to each other. The radio is really busy in a firefighting scenario, so you pretty much need to stay out of the way. But beyond visual line of sight in that environment, it's very, very challenging, and that's one of the big hurdles at the moment.
And let me just comment on that, right? So you're coming in via mobile services today.
Yep.
If you can't keep a stable internet signal today to do just what we're doing here today, command and control of drones, it's certainly a big risk of doing that over mobile networks. You're not in control of that.
Yeah, it's a huge risk. I mean, there's a lot of fail safes that you put in the aircraft. So if it loses its link, it returns to home. How's it going to do that if there's other aircraft around you? A fire scenario, a fire situation is a fairly charged, environment with a lot of people on the ground you've got to worry about as well. Of course, you could have, if you have any kind of failure of the drone and any further fire, you could be, making the problem worse. There's a lot of stuff to go through first, but I think everyone agrees that drones will be a really valuable asset in terms of that detecting toxic gas and looking at hotspots and tracking the fire and just how they manage it yet. The Royal Commission here in Australia for the last bushfires that we had is actively working with CASA on what's going to happen. I mean, they found some flaws in the whole system. The radio system between a lot of the ground assets wasn't working properly. They couldn't get proper links. So you had people down in gullies fighting fires, couldn't talk to the command center, and all sorts of stuff went wrong. So they've got to sort all that stuff as well. So, let's just see where that goes. But it's going to be the future. I think there'll be a real need for high-level fixed-wing drones that are flying up, 5,000, 6,000 feet above the fire, giving the oval, the big picture of what's going on below, and the aircraft that are doing the spot fire dumping and dropping are happening much slower, of course.
Yeah. There was a question from Zebmeet on the screen. What frequency is best? Good question. And the answer is it depends.
Yeah, it does
you
depend.
can be in different places where different frequencies are going to work better or worse for you depending on the existing RF footprint and also the terrain and the area where you need to go and what obstacles you might have. It just depends. So having a drone that's capable of switching and changing frequencies and bands depending on the environment is certainly the best way to go.
One of the things they had there in the video was an Inspire 1, and we all know that the Inspire 1 doesn't have OcuSync, doesn't have dual channel switching. It's a fairly early drone in terms of getting that link together. So there are a lot better options now with OcuSync as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go and move on to our next story. And this video shows the amazing moment a police drone team found Grumpy when he was missing. And the family of Grumpy said that he didn't stand a chance without the assistance of the drone. The footage released by the local police highlights the use of the DJI M300 RTK and H20T camera that was used to locate Grumpy in long grass and direct officers to him.
Wow. I hope we see the zoom from the M300. Yeah, look at that.
And here we go, boys and girls, looking for Grumpy. He was lost, or actually, I heard that it wasn't Grumpy because this person was lost in the tall grass, and apparently it was actually Art from Artco Drone Solutions, because Grumpy's tall enough that he can see over the grass. Art, on the other hand, well, that's another story. Look, all joking aside.
It was a short ass lost in the tall grass.
Boom, boom.
Well. So all joking aside, a really, really good use of drone technology, and the fact that it was able to see from above what you couldn't see from another angle and was able to go and find that missing pensioner. All jokes aside, it wasn't Grumpy. It was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Giblin, and he was able to be located thanks to the use of drone technology.
Good news.
Absolutely. We've got two more. One quick one with video, first of all. This one is an anti-drone weapon. France's military successfully completed advanced testing of its anti-drone laser weaponry and said the country plans on deploying the tech around the country within a couple of years. Officials said they hope to have drone blasting energy defence systems up and running in time for the France-hosted World Cup of Rugby in 2023 and the Paris Summer Olympics the following year. The trials took place on Wednesday in southwest France, featuring a high-energy laser. Its creator, Compagnie Industrielle des Lasers, has muscled up the weapon since then, with the unit now capable of detecting and identifying drones from as far as 3 kilometres away and blasting them from the sky from a distance of 1 kilometre.
Oh, nasty.
It looks a little bit like that WALL-E, that movie, the WALL-E robot thing. WALL-E.
Yeah, doesn't it? WALL-E. Tracking the Phantom. Oh, like that you mean?
Yeah.
That kind of blasting it from the sky.
Yeah. And I was impressed by the fact that it was able to do that at speed as well. So it's tracking the drone and still able to focus on it and neutralise it. Now, obviously, as drone hobbyists, we don't want people to be going and blasting our drones. So, we encourage our people to fly in legal and safe locations. But for something like the Olympics, maybe that's something that they might want to consider.
Wow, it's a pretty precise. Look at that. Not necessarily the safest way to do it.
Yeah, what would you do?
Well, these days if you bombard the aircraft or you take its GPS signal away, it'll land quietly where it is. You don't need to absolutely crush it. There's better ways to do it with radio signal, particularly if it's got a fail-safe. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth. I don't see that. I don't see that being used very constructively. And it's got its. You're going to catch laser something and send a fireball to the ground. That's what you're doing. Yeah. Where's the where's the risk assessment for that?
Look, absolutely right. But here's where I would say I think that particular type of technology does have its place around airports, for example. Maybe military. I don't think it military and, well, I would even say, Sydney Airport, actually within the control area. Absolutely.
Yeah, I still feel that's dangerous. I'd rather see it bombard it with a signal that lowered the aircraft to the ground in case, just in terms of risk. And again, going back to the military, if you're in a theatre of combat, of course, that drone that's approaching you might be charged with something, that would detonate to harm you. Absolutely, blow it out of the sky. It's like the Scud missile idea. Take it out before it becomes a threat, But in civilian cases, it's not the thing I'd be banking on. But I suppose then too,
I would say as a second line of defence, I think there is definitely. And Trevor is saying, wait for the first aircraft brought down by mistake. Absolutely. You don't want to have it fire. No.
You're onto that,
I'm in agreement with that. But here's a question for you, John. What if you're going to be sending high energy beams into the sky microwave beams or whatever, energy beams, and you do have aircraft. Whereas that, as a precision device, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think, well, you're not going to stop people developing that kind of technology. There's a lot of legislation problems that let me tell you, in Australia you can't do it. But again, let's just see where it goes. I'd hate to think that sort of thing started coming around, because it's not going to do any good. A lot for the drone industry and people's perception of the drone industry. Because obviously they'll want to shoot down everything they think's in the wrong spot. But as Trevor pointed out, it's a dangerous weapon. A dangerous weapon.
Yeah, and of course our friends over in the United States of... Okay, enough of that. Let's get into our last story for the moment. We've got this one. This one is an interesting story. Now, there's no video with this. It's a photo only. Now, if you would indulge me, I'm going to play some music with this one as I read it. And, we'll just have some fun. Cockies and police suspect criminals are using drones to scope out rural properties for burglaries. Drone was spotted scouting a farm near Matamata just days before the farm shed was burgled. Shed on Gun Road was one of many where farm burglaries have happened in June. Thieves stole an old Mac chainsaw, an AEG drill, a Hickory drill, a petrol container, and a golf trundler. Nearby residents reported seeing a drone flying in the area a week before the burglary occurred. And while police can't confirm the two are connected, they admit it is suspicious. The victim of the burglary, who didn't want to be named, told the news source of this article the first thing that they did was call their neighbours to raise awareness.
Look, all I can say about that is it really shows what a limited budget we work with. Bless you.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's good security, for even you looking after your own property. And I do a bit of security flying for some of the marinas. I know I've talked about it before. During the weekends when the hard stand of all the very expensive boats sitting on the dock, people slip over the fence and pinch things off them. And over a couple of years, it's really caused just a deterrent. So apart from just catching someone, or using the drone to scope out things, having a drone flying regularly means that people, it's like, the burglar comes around and wonder if they've got a dog. Let's leave that property if they've got a dog. So I don't know. It's gonna happen, mate. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Anyway, look, I had a little bit of fun with that one, and I saw that story come in, and originally I thought it was going to have some video with it, but that was not to be, and I thought, well, let's go creative and
let's tell it anyway.
Kojak music of that kind.
Hey,
so we've come.
You still awake? Still awake?
Yeah.
Are you still here? That's good. Yeah, I got to
still here
occasionally. Yeah, that's good. He hasn't nodded off yet, so that's good.
Let's see.
He woke up.
I'm still alive.
I watched Grumpy wake up when he saw a drone descending from the heavens in a fireball. That seemed to get him.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, though, you guys were talking about Apple Watches before the show earlier today, and that's Grumpy's life support. It's it beeps at him and vibrates on his wrist and tells him to breathe.
Yeah, right. Hey, listen,
yeah.
I've got Tom.
I've got Ken first of all. Tom will come in a second. Ken's more important.
Yep.
Ken, thank you for your $5 super chat. What was that on the screen? Can you put it back up again?
Absolutely. Whoops, wrong one.
Howdy.
There we go.
So he heard. So what the thing is, he heard the music, and he knew it was his time to be on the show.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I've got a piece of music that I found for Ken, and it's actually what I deem to be his theme song the next time he does come on. Because you can just imagine Ken sitting on the front veranda, rocking back and forth.
Corn pipe.
Yeah. Controller in one hand, mobile phone in the other. Hang on, this is Ken we're talking about. Drone in one hand, and gun in the other for those squirrels.
There you go. I'm wondering if Tom's trying to log in at the moment, and he's probably thinking he's on the wrong show.
Alexis. Ka-ching, $10 from Alexis. She's doubling up on Ken. Thank you, Alexis. You are absolutely wonderful. By the way, there was a message that we tried to get to you. I asked in Ken's chat, when I was trying to find a guest yesterday, I went to Alexis's channel and found out that she's been involved in general aviation, thought it'd be interesting to have her on as a guest. So here's my public thing. Contact me, go to the channel page and click the email address thing on the general tab. Give us a buzz and maybe we can get you to come on as a guest some other time.
There's been an ongoing chat with her, and Zebmi's been saying to contact you. And I knew that we're expecting John's, how old is he, 25?
Yeah,
25-year-old son. 24 to actually get out of bed and show up. But Zebmi's been trying to get her, and Ken Heron has just popped up another 20.
Oh, my goodness.
So there's been an ongoing conversation. Zebmi's been trying to get it. And I've been monitoring it, and finally I said that you generally select your guest out because, well, unlike my show, which is not scripted, Greg is a little retentive about certain things.
Okay,
and,
there you go. You know, I've got him on the text here, and I think Greg just stand by because you sent him a link to come in. So
I did.
We might get lucky if he's going to click on it, and we can find out if he's still in his pajamas.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting for the 24-year-old
to come on.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for the 24-year-old, have you got a joke for us, Grumpy?
No.
I got one. Have I told?
Absolutely. No, I had just.
You hear what happened when they turned Star Wars into 4K and they re-released it, and they were interviewing Yoda on it, and they said, "What have you got to say about seeing yourself now in 4K?" And Yoda said, "HDMI."
Oh God.
I have the boom tish button, but I don't think I can use that one in this case.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Sorry.
My wife's telling me to press the button because Ken gave 20. I think I already did the ka-ching on that one. Oh, my goodness.
Well.
Beautiful.
Booyah. Okay, hang on. Here we go.
It's a race.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You can go and press that super chat button any time of the day or night. We're here to take Well, don't let me stop you. Don't let me stop you. But Alexa, seriously.
How about Greg? I have my little stand-in thing while we might be waiting for Tom, and we're coming towards the end of the show. I have a little John's tip of the week that we can throw in, make all this super chat worthwhile.
Yeah, come on. Okay, guys, here we go. John's joke. What is it worth to you to hear John's joke?
No, it's not a joke. I was actually going to talk about drones and flying drones, believe it or not. I just thought I'd throw some content in. And that is a reminder this week, have a think about checklists. Do you use a checklist? So ask yourself when you go out, if you're going to take a small boat out, you got it in the garage, you're going to hook it up to the car, it's a tinny. Do you, look at how much fuel I got the life jackets, is the motor a quick test? We tend to often have this process if you're good at boating. Otherwise, you drag your boat down the water.
Sorry, John, someone interrupted you. Sorry, John, there was a quick super chat from Ken. Alexis wins again.
No, this is
continue.
Because I'm giving good content, right? This is why you get it. So I'm thinking, up your game a little bit. If you're not using a checklist, remember this is a very generally accepted practice in aviation. Anytime that using a checklist. Oh, thanks. There goes Grumpy. He's asleep.
Hang on.
He's asleep. But you know what? I'm telling you, it'll save you one day. And most definitely having a simple checklist before you fly, before you go out, and then use it while you fly. Use it when you finish and you put the airplane away. Run through the procedures, check everything's in working order and stuff. Keep an eye on your batteries. All of that stuff is really good. So we've developed further than that. We've got this thing called a QRH, which is called a Quick Reference Handbook. So now we've got our checklist in a little booklet. And you've got night checklist, you've got day checklist, you've got checklists for working in wind and so forth, and do all of that.
Sorry, interruption. Sorry, John. Ken wanted to just say, litter the joint with super chats. He's trying to add garbage on top of you.
He's trying to add garbage on top. You know what? Here's the thing.
Oh, hang on, John. Sorry. Northern Tier FPV had to get in on the chat train. Great show, guys. Northern Tier, I saw something from you before, but thank you for that. John, you didn't like the music last week.
Money here. I know. I'm trying to save even if you didn't super chat, it could save your airplane one day. So there's my tip of the week.
But do you know what? Checklists, I agree with you 100%, and I'll tell you why. Every time I do this show, you know what? I'm going to get up for a minute. John, can you entertain them for a brief moment? And I'm going to show people the checklist that we do for this show, and I'll put it up on the screen.
Oh, fantastic.
But in the meantime, entertain them.
Okay. So here's an interesting one, because you say to yourself, well, I look at the screen. I run the checks along the top, make sure everything's green. I've got GPS position. I've got enough battery. However...
Shut up, John.
What have I done?
We got the comment from Ken. Now, I'm just going to get over here in my producer's chair. Sorry about the audio.
I just put up what he said.
What did he say?
This is what Ken Heron said.
Thank you, Ken. Absolutely appreciate that. A fellow aviator, I might say, So there you go. And anyway, here's a thing that's not in the checklist you think about that might be important. So one of the things that you do is, if when you depart and you push the throttle up to take off, have a look at your watch, run a stopwatch. There's the new Apple Watch I got the other day. Run a stopwatch, and you say to yourself, I've just taken off, I've got 25 minutes. I will be on the ground somewhere in 25 minutes, and that time will be, 3:05 or whatever. Now, imagine everything goes wrong. You've got to fly away. You've lost your telemetry. You've seen the airplane fly off. The only thing you know is when the aircraft's going to be on the ground. That's the only information you've got left. So because the telemetry's gone, the airplane's gone out of visual line of sight, all that kind of stuff. So a departure time and an endurance that you keep a log of might be one of those things that you can say, well, now I know where to start looking, because I could calculate that based on the flight time left. If the airplane only had 15% of fuel left when you lost everything, you know that too. You're going to be on the ground in probably 3 or 4 minutes. And so
just a quick interruption. If you can call Thomas and let him know that we've got black screen for him. So,
black screen.
Okay, and in the meantime, I have the checklist that I was about to put up on the screen. So this is part of the checklist that we go through each and every week. We click on these things. Can you move your mouse onto the left screen to my producer? Move your mouse over there and scroll it up to the top a little bit. Left, bottom down, left. There you go. So there's the full checklist we go through, and we do all of these things every week.
Do we have Tom's audio?
We don't have Tom's audio. In fact, he's disconnected, so we're going to have to wait for him to come back in again. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for Tom...
He's going to try his phone. He doesn't have a webcam working, so he's going to try a phone by hook or by crook.
$10 from Ken Heron for Grumpy's Throat Lozenges.
Yeah.
Is that an in joke?
Let me see. No, it's just Grumpy tends to cough up his lungs a few too many times from time to time. And
Yes.
I did have a sound that I had planned to load on this board, but I haven't done it yet. So someone's going to be unhappy with me that told me I should do that. But I will get that sound just for
Another
Grumpy
minute
later on.
that Tom tried. Oh, there it is. That's Tom. Fantastic.
We don't have Tom. Oh, that's Tom.
Hey, get out of bed.
Hello, Betty.
There you go, mate.
Okay.
So he might listen if he doesn't get in this week, because I know we're about to close out. It'd be good fun to have him on the show and have a chat about some of his experiences.
Yeah, look, I'd like to know about his experiences, but also kind of the journey, the motivation. Yeah, we joked about it earlier and said, look, kids are motivated by money.
Yeah, the
But
biggest journey, is out of flying is into check and training. So that when you're actually passing on information and monitoring other people's flying, that's the big journey.
But also the motivation, like what was behind it.
Here we go.
Oh, here we
Hey, look at that. I see.
Who would win in a fight, Grumpy or John? Place your bets.
Let
Okay.
me see. Morning, Tom. I don't know if you can see us. Can you hear us? Testing 1, 2, 3.
We're just getting his audio set up, so give us a couple of moments. Stand by. Cool. Please wait. Audio is important to us. We would like to get your sound up on the screen. Okay. Hello. Hi, Tom. G'day.
I can hear him. Hey, there he is.
Can you turn your phone sideways? You've got this piece of... See the TV monitor where you are there? There's these two black bars. Turn it sideways.
Yeah, this isn't
TikTok. There we go. That's better.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, he's a 24-year-old. He's a TikToker.
There you
TikToker,
go.
yeah.
Hey, Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great. We're going to have you in because we're coming to the end of the show anyway. But Greg might want to ask you, how did you get into this, of course, or whatever. Throw in a couple of early questions, Greg, and then we'll continue it on another week.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tom, that is the question for me. What was your motivation, right? So people who do things have an inspiration to do it. Now, John said earlier on, and a quick interruption, $9.99 from ZedMeet. Any private pilots chip in? Private pilots, feel free to go and chip into the story here as well. But I would love to know, Tom, what was your motivation? John said it was money. What was the reason you decided to get into it?
So initially, I think that was his lure, was money. It was like, held the fishing rod out and said, "Come on, son, come on." But I thought the challenge of it was cool. I've never actually before Dad started flying the craft, I'd never seen someone do it for work, and I saw that and went, "That's sick. That looks like the future." And as a young adult, that lured me going, I want to be part of something as it's starting.
Okay, so ultimately, John, it was your fault. You definitely held out the bait there. And a quick interruption. Speaking of money, celebrating 50 years of flying this month, Alexis, $20 super chat. No kidding. 50 years of flying. Alexis, do email me. I want to get you on as a guest onto the show. So another day, that would be really cool. So do you think it was a bait and switch?
I don't think so. I think John's interests were always for me, and he was right. It was something that I was definitely good at, and it was something I enjoy.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I've had fun with it every job we've done, except never mind, not Tyler Chill. No, it's been great, and being a part of something as it's starting and seeing it grow and seeing not only how we're growing as pilots, but as the industry itself is growing, is been something that's kept me in this since the start, and it's been fun.
Okay, and which is the more interesting part for you? Is it the hands-on sticks, or is it the now running the business and understanding the mechanics of the business and the regulatory bits? What inspires you now? What keeps you thinking?
It's never not fun flying with. It's never not fun on the sticks. It's never not fun on the sticks. I think the most fun I have, the most fun is getting to try something new, regardless of what it is. That'll be the most fun. Whether it's like something regulatory or something like with the same old craft we've always had, but we're trying something new that we've never done. Like the first time we did Eve Lost 1 at the prison, it's all about new things.
Okay. Do you want to briefly tell what you were doing a jailbreak at a prison?
Who said that? I didn't say that.
So what were you doing at the prison? Can you say something about that, or is it confidential?
I'm going to have to speak to my lawyer on this, John. Is it confidential?
No, we were testing aeroscope units. So the prisons have drone detection systems, and our job was to sneak around the prisons and try and test those systems. So when the drone was detected, what would the response of the guards be? Where would they go? And Tom was particularly good at this, even showing how you could land inside the facility one time, which was really good. That was pretty much a first.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can't say
John,
too much about it.
Sure. So, John, have you got some other questions now that you can put your son under the microscope? What have you got that you would like to ask him?
Tom, one of the things I talk about the journey is you come in from, being good on the sticks and everything to watching someone else. And the other day we had a very experienced pilot that had to trek and train. What do you think of for people that want to learn from that experience of training someone? What do you think the things are that your own skills that you get better by watching people and teaching people?
I think something that, as an observer, and not just by the role in a job, I mean just someone who is watching someone else work. Something you don't get is how do I explain this? It's how important and how drilled in repetition is. If you just hand someone a job description and a craft, they can do it, but they're going to forget. Then they're not going to know any of the nuances of how, in what order to get everything set up, and how important it is to go through the structure and the cycles of preparation every time, regardless of how good you are as a pilot. And you get that from watching someone do jobs over and over and over again. And that's what I got, seeing you do jobs the exact same way every time with proper structure, checklists, everything.
Oh, checklist. There we go. We were mentioning checklist and our QRH and the importance of it. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you picked up on that. So well done.
Do you know where that actually came from, Tom? There's something out of John's background that I think led into this, because repetition is something that John does.
Repetition is the mother of skill.
And hitting drums. I mean, go Grumps. What do you got?
Well, I was wondering if the producer could put a side by side, not of me, but of John and his son next to each other, and then have his son take off his hat. I want to see how closely they're related.
Oh no, he's got hair, man. He's got hair.
I want to see what John looked like before he got old.
I let my hair get longer during quarantine than John ever did.
Yeah, you reckon? I was a surfer. Okay. When I was a surfer, I had longer hair.
Okay. So come on, Tom. What did John look like before he lost it?
Let me do a fade to black, and then come back.
Fade to black.
Here we go. This is an A-B. Yeah, look.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Well, fortunately, you did not take after your father.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't have
Don't
hair
worry.
like that.
Like all the cousins, I will eventually.
Yeah.
They just started the process. I think even Harry, all of them have gone skin bald.
Yep. It's a Morrison thing.
My boys are bald.
Speaking of Morrison,
are all bald. My brother's bald.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Speaking of the name Morrison and bald, did you actually know what my middle name is, Tom?
Yeah.
I did not. Enlighten me. Which one is it?
My middle name is Morrison.
So you've got the curses and the blessings, the never-ending hunger, funny, you've got it all.
Yeah. Anyway, any last questions from you, John or Grumps, for our at the end of the show guest?
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Tom, and sharing it. Maybe we'll set up and have a chat about a job, some of the funny jobs we did. I showed some photos of Tullabegeel today when you were out on your first job, when we were freezing to death out in the middle of New South Wales, and we talked about that. But maybe we'll share some other adventures, because Tom and I have trekked all over the place, just the two of us, working together for about 5 years, and we've done some really interesting work out in the bush, right out Condobolin, and we've been everywhere, man, and sometimes flown in light aircraft ourselves, and that's been a fun adventure too, hasn't it, mate?
Oh, yeah. It builds character, as I've said.
It builds character.
Absolutely. Just a quick one, the comment from Ken Heron, hair genes are recessive on the matriarchal side.
Yeah, right. Rabbit running backwards along a track.
Yeah.
Receding hairline.
Okay. Look, we've reached that part of our show where it's time to wrap up. Tom, thank you for popping in. We will get you to come back another time and have a longer chat about some stuff. And in fact, maybe if you could pick a kind of a theory topic in terms of drones that has been interesting for you to look at and to pass on to some of the pilots in MAR, etc. Whatever you like, we'll go and work on that.
I'll definitely get to when I have more time. It was a very big mistake on my part, voice acting till late last night for my friend's college project. But other than that, I'd love to. I'll bring a subject with me next time for sure.
Okay, that would be cool. Thank you for being with us. And now we reach the end of our show. Actually, before you go, Grumps, we were talking earlier on. Since we've got the 24-year-old and we've got you here, Grumpy, have you got any quick generation gap thoughts?
Yeah. Let's see. Well, now I thought of one earlier, but I fell asleep listening to John talk about his checklist, and I forgot.
I hey, Grumpy, show Tom your sidekick, hey? Show Tom your sidekick that you work with.
The one I work, which one? Oh, the newest one?
Yeah, this is
my sidekick.
That's his chief pilot.
Oh, wow. Might be a bit biased, I think.
Yeah, and this is
definitely some kind of conflict of interest there.
Yeah, well, this is my kid brother.
Yeah.
See what you look forward to. That's what you got to look forward to when you get old. Becoming a kid all over again. Yeah.
One's a furry monkey and the other eats bananas.
Okay. Well, we've definitely gone over time and it's been fun doing it. Let me do a couple of things to say thank you again, Tom, for being part of the show today. It's sorry for the late notice. As I said, we had a couple of cancellations, one after the other, and it was good to have you come in and say hi. So thanks again.
I'll come in for a full episode next time. That's my goal.
Okay, done. And Grumps, last comments or thoughts or words from you?
I'm just glad the show. I'm sorry, I was going to say the show's over. I'm glad the show went as well as it did. My bad. I was thinking out loud.
As you do. You know, Grumpy, just put Grumpy back up there for 1 second.
He is up.
I'm still up.
Yeah. This is the sound. I've actually sent some microphones and other sensors into your home there today so we could listen to the thought process. That's Grumpy's brain working, guys.
That's it right there. That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
thanks.
it.
Thanks, Grumpy. We'll move over to John.
Hey, guys. I thank you. That wasn't me. Now, I've got my parting words today. Get yourself a checklist. Have a think about your checklist. We'll come on and talk about it next time. So it's going to save your airplane one day. Trust me. Fly safe, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy lockdown.
Sounds good. And let's just have a look at these few little pieces of info. If you want to send anything in to share to us, Alexis, please email me, upload@gregkuhnert.com. And if you would like to go and follow us at OzByDrone on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and anything else you can think of, we've got the same username everywhere. And lastly, if you want to send anything physical, the address is 5/127 Princes Highway, Sylvania, New South Wales, 22224, Australia. That's all we've got time for. It's been fun. Thanks as always. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Bye for next week. See ya.
Bye-bye.